Hey everybody, I'm back and today I'm going to be talking about buying a house in a seller's market. A seller's market essentially creates low supply and high demand, so there's just not a lot of houses for sale, which creates a really competitive atmosphere. A lot of buyers want the same house, multiple offers, things like that. So today I'm going to give you some tips on how to write the best offer to give you the best chance at winning the house. First things first, make sure you're using a real estate agent. We have the knowledge and the expertise to write offers in this competitive market. We can help you determine how much you should offer. Should you go at asking price, over asking price, under asking price? We can pull the recent sales in the neighborhood and just help you determine what the house is worth. We also have access to houses that aren't even on the market yet. So using an agent is completely to your advantage, and in this market, you should definitely use one. Once you've decided you want to make an offer, here are some things you can put in it to make it attractive and competitive to the seller. First of all, the purchase price. Like I said before, your agent can run recent and pending sales to help you determine what the house is worth. Ultimately, it is up to you, and that number has to make sense to you. Next is earnest money. I've talked about this in my previous videos. This is money you put down right away when the offer is accepted, and it will go towards your down payment at closing. So for example, if the house is $220,000, you're planning to put $10,000 down, put $5,000 for your earnest money. Basically, the more earnest money, the better. If you're not planning to put a lot down, that's also okay. I would say probably depending on the price of the house, try to put at least $1,000 down. But basically, the more money you put down shows the more serious you are to the seller and that you're not just going to randomly walk away. In a multiple offer situation, let's talk about the purchase price again. Most of the time, the seller just wants your highest and best offer. So in a normal market, it's kind of like you put in an offer and then the seller might counter and then you can go a little bit higher. But in this competitive, crazy market, highest and best means just putting the highest amount that you feel comfortable with right from the get-go. Another element of the offer is the closing date. Have your agent ask the seller's agent, when would the seller prefer to close? Is it 30 days? Would they prefer 60 days? If you know that, you can accommodate that closing date to make your offer even more competitive. Let's talk about the financing section of the offer. So you'll be pre-approved with a mortgage lender before you make an offer. If you can, the most appealing loan to most sellers is a conventional loan. This is because an FHA and a VA loan can be a little more specific and picky when it comes to repairs that the seller has to do in order for the bank to approve the loan. So sometimes if a seller sees that it's a VA loan or an FHA loan, they might be like, I just really don't want to deal with that. That makes me nervous. I'd rather just have a conventional loan. So if you can get that, that's the way to go. If you can't, it's definitely not impossible, and there are things we can do, but if you can get a conventional loan, I would recommend that. Also with your loan, it's really important to have a local mortgage lender rather than getting pre-approved through Quicken Loans or Better Loans. The seller and the agents want to make sure that the deal gets to the closing table, so using a lender that they're familiar with just really makes your offer more competitive. Next is the inspection contingencies. Some people in this crazy market are choosing to waive that contingency entirely and just accept the property as is. We are seeing that a little bit in Bloomington Normal, not a ton, but we are seeing it a little bit. For my clients, it's completely up to them if they feel comfortable waiving that. I would say most people don't, but some people do. One thing we can do, rather than waive it entirely, the inspection paragraph does say if a repair is over $1,000, the seller has to repair it. We can move that up to $2,000 or $3,000 to make your offer a little bit more competitive. So there are other options. I would just say talk to your agent and do what you feel comfortable with. And lastly is the appraisal contingency. So the bank will do an appraisal on the property to assess its value, to make sure that the agreed upon purchase price, that the house is actually worth that. The contingency covers the buyers. If the appraisal comes in short, then they can renegotiate with the seller to determine a new purchase price, or the deal will just be done, null and void. Again, in this crazy market, some people are waiving the appraisal contingency. And they're saying, listen, if it comes in short, I'll pay the difference. You certainly do not have to do that. That is an option. You can also just say, hey, I'll cover up to $1,000 or $2,000 if it comes in short, so we can always add that in. Or you can say, I'm only paying for what the bank says the house is worth. But those are just options that you can do with that. Thanks for watching my video, everybody. I know this market can be really tough to be a buyer. My best advice is try not to get too discouraged. Keep trying. You'll find the house that's meant to be your house. I do not think the market's going to be like this. Definitely not forever. Hopefully not for too much longer. But in the meantime, it's not impossible to win a house. I've had clients win several lately. Get a good agent. Get someone who remains positive and has your best interests in mind, and don't give up.